How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Metroplex Bass Addicts video, and welcome back to our series on how to make more money tournament fishing. This is actually going to be the sixth and final episode of this six-part series, and this video is going to go over how to approach tournaments and how Ian and I approach our tournaments. So let's roll the intro and then we'll get into it.
What? Why? I think I like it.
All right, everyone. So first things first, the first thing that we're going to talk about when it comes to how to approach your tournaments and how to have more success in your tournaments is actually, what we've covered in the previous 5 episodes of this series. So specifically, the practice video, the map study video, and the technology video. Like I said in those videos, they're all crucial components to having tournament success. Most of your work for a tournament is done before you ever even leave your house to go to the body of water where the tournament is going to be held. So, doing your map study beforehand on Google Earth Pro and Navionics, marking spots that should be relevant for the time of the year that you're going to be there. Making sure that your electronics are dialed in, whatever setups you have, and that you have confidence in your electronic setups. And then getting a good solid practice using all that equipment and tools, and really making practice count and staying focused during practice. So that's the first, just things to be conscious of when you're trying to prepare for a tournament or a tournament season. Preparation is key. Without good preparation, you will not have consistent success tournament fishing. So that's first and foremost. All your preparation is first and foremost. But the caveat to that is, a lot of times, during the tournament, especially if you practice 1 or 2 days before, or you practice a weekend or 2 before, a lot can change, right? That's the crazy and cool thing about bass fishing as a sport. It's always changing. Fish are almost never doing the same thing 2 days in a row. So with that being said, one of the biggest things you have to do when tournament fishing is keep an open mind and be willing to adapt and change. Fish the moment. Just because you caught them in a brush pile on 20 feet in practice doesn't mean that that's where they're going to be in the tournament. Sometimes it works like that, and those are, every fisherman prays for that moment when you find them in practice and they stay there for the tournament. But you always have to be willing to adapt and change, because more than likely the bass are going to move. So keeping an open mind is extremely important. It allows you to adjust on the fly with the changing weather conditions, with the changing in the time of year, changing water conditions, whatever it may be. And it allows you to still stay confident while you're out there fishing, because confidence is key in fishing, especially tournament fishing. If you're not confident in what you're doing, then you're not going to fish well. So you have to be willing to adapt. You have to be willing to change with what's going on. Fishing the moment is a big deal to Ian and I. We do obviously typically find a game plan in practice, but you just have to be able to recognize the signs and know when the game plan that you developed in practice is or isn't going to work. And that's something that just comes with time on the water and more experience. The more and more tournaments you fish, the more you kind of get a feel for when you need to abandon your game plan versus when you need to stick with it. And so that's just something that you have to build up over time. That skill and that confidence to be able to change on the fly and make quick decisions. Quick decision making and good decision making is 90% of tournament fishing and tournament success. So that would be tip number 1. The next thing I want to talk about when it comes to having consistent tournament success is you have to decide if you are going to be a generalist or a specialist, because you can have success doing both, right? So if you're a specialist, then you have 1 or 2 things that you're extremely confident in and that you do really well, and you stick with those and kind of try to force them to work in most of your tournaments. A great example of a pro angler that would be a specialist would be someone like Greg Hackney, right? Like, he's pretty versatile too, but for the most part, if he can catch him flipping and pitching, that's what he's going to do, and that's what he wants to do, and that's what he has the most confidence in. On the other side, you have your generalist. The generalist is someone who's versatile. They can do everything well. They don't really have one specific technique that is their specialty. They're confident and comfortable fishing however they need to get the bite. So 1 week it could be throwing a drop shot on bluff walls in 20 feet of water, The next week it could be throwing a chatterbait on laydowns in 2 feet of water. So you have to define your fishing style. Everyone has to develop their own fishing style. And that also comes with time on the water. You know, the more you get out on the water, try new techniques, try fishing new types of cover, try fishing, you know, different depth zones and different clarities of water, the more that you kind of figure out what you're confident in and what you're not. And you can build your fishing style based on that. So Ian and I, for the most part, are more on the generalist side. And I do think that being a generalist is a better long-term. If you look at most of the greatest anglers of all time, you know, like KVD or Rick Clunn, for example, or Jacob Wheeler, they are confident and comfortable throwing anything anywhere. They win tournaments with drop shots, they win tournaments with crankbaits, they win tournaments with top waters, they win tournaments in 20 foot of water, they win tournaments in a foot of water. And so it just seems like, at least to us, the best way to be consistently good or great in a fishing tournament is to develop a more generalist style and to have that versatility and to be confident and comfortable fishing a variety of different techniques in a variety of different situations. So, you know, Ian and I pride ourselves in being versatile. It's something that we really try to work on. And we're very comfortable throwing a drop shot in super clear water for smallmouth on Lake Texoma, the same way that we're very confident running up a river, flipping and pitching a craw and throwing a spinnerbait or a chatterbait around laydowns in stained water in 2 feet of water. So that's just something you have to work on. And if you want to be more of a generalist, if you consider yourself more of a specialist right now, but you want to be more of a generalist, the easiest way to kind of expand your horizons and get more versatile is to just go out on the lake and force yourself to throw different baits, to fish different areas, to get out of your comfort zone and to try to expand. The best way to get better and to compete year-round and compete for Angler of the Year and have consistent tournament success is to get out on those days when you're not fishing a tournament and force yourself to fish ways that you don't normally do. You have to learn how to do everything if you want to be consistent. Even at the regional level, we fish a lot of different lakes: Cedar Creek, Fork, Tawakoni, Texoma, Louisville. They're all different. They all set up different. The bass behave differently on them, and there's certain nuances to each lake that are different. So if you want to win Angler of the Year on the TTO trail, you're going to have to catch them on Tawakoni, Fork, Cedar Creek. You could be flipping on one, you could be skipping docks on another, you could be cranking on another, you could be throwing a drop shot in a big worm. And, you know, it also changes with the time of year, right? In the spring, generally the bass are shallower. Summer and fall, you know, they might be a little bit deeper. Wintertime, they might be a little deeper. And their activity level and mood changes as well. So you have to be able to throw the bait that's going to get you bit based on the time of year you're fishing and what the bass are doing. So you always have to keep the seasonal pattern in mind when you're fishing, especially in the tournament. Everything that goes into tournament fishing is, you know, preparing for what the bass are going to be doing when you're fishing the tournament, whether it's January, October, March. You have to know the seasonal patterns of the bass, know what they should be doing, and fish around those areas until you figure out what the deal is. You got to let the fish tell you what they want, but you have to be around the fish to catch them. So versatility is key for us anyway. And we believe it's key for most really good anglers, especially, you know, the top professional anglers. It seems like the most versatile guys are the ones who always do the best, the most consistently. So that's tip number 2. All right, guys, and the third and final tip that I have for you, or third and final set of tips to become more, you know, consistent and do well in your tournaments more often, is to just get out on the water as much as possible, right? So put in as much time on the water as you possibly can. Everyone talks about it. Time on the water is the biggest and best way to really make leaps in your fishing ability better than anything else. You know, time on the water is the most important aspect. You can read articles from professional anglers. You can fish with buddies that are better than you. You can put in all this time beforehand, but if you don't have the on the water experience, putting these techniques and the things you learn into practice, then you're never going to get better. Time on the water is the most crucial part, and you know, you want to be out there as much as possible, whether you're fishing just to go fishing, to have fun out on the lake, whether you're practicing for a tournament or whether you're fishing a tournament. The more that you can get out on the water and experiment and learn on the water, the better you're going to be. So, you know, one of the things that's really helped us in the last couple of years is just the amount of tournaments we fish. Back in high school, you know, we were fishing 5 tournaments a year. You know, it was a 5 tournament season. And that would basically be all that we would fish. And we had some success every now and then, but it wasn't consistent. We would do good in a tournament, we'd bomb the next. We would do great in 1 or 2 tournaments, we'd bomb the next 1 or 2. And, you know, once we got into college, and then now out of college fishing the adult leagues, you know, like TTO and Bass Champs, we just started fishing a lot more tournaments. You know, now we fish 15 to 20 tournaments a year. Big tournaments, we also fish, you know, weeknight tournaments. So we're fishing a lot more than we ever have, and it has allowed us to really learn a lot quicker. The more that you can be on the water, like I said, the faster you're gonna learn. So just fishing as much as you possibly can goes a long way in becoming a more consistent tournament angler. And also fishing more tournaments. You know, another way to get better, one of the best ways to get better is to fish against people who can beat you, right? If you're fishing against people who can't beat you, you're never going to get out of your comfort zone to try and find ways to beat them because you're beating them all the time. But when you fish against guys who can beat you and you get your butt kicked a couple times and you get sick of it, that's when you start to really look at other areas of the lake, expand on what you're comfortable doing, and really expand your horizons. And that's when you really start getting better a lot quicker as an angler. So fish against people who can beat you, fish as much as often, and fish as many tournaments as you can. And that is my third and final set of tips for this video. So yeah, one more time, guys, we really do appreciate you guys watching. If you take what we've given you in this 6-part series to heart, and you really try to work to implement what we've, you know, explained in these videos into your fishing process, we really do believe it'll help you become a better angler, and we appreciate all the support. Next 2 weeks will be videos from the Kings of Cowtown Championship. The first video will be our practice video that'll drop next week. It was a decent practice, the best practice that we've ever had for a Kings of Cowtown tournament. That being said, it still wasn't great. You know, fishing in August down here in Texas is one of the toughest times of year to fish, and the fishing is not great. But we caught them pretty good on Lake Worth in practice. Kind of decent on Eagle Mountain and Louisville. We're a little bit shaky on those two. We're pretty confident about Worth. Eagle Mountain and Louisville will be a little bit more of a challenge, but hopefully the tournament will go well. As I'm recording this video, we actually will be fishing that tournament starting tomorrow, Saturday, August 9th or 10th, I believe. So the next 2 weeks will be the practice video for Kings of Cowtown and then the tournament video. So y'all stay tuned for that. We appreciate all the support. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine, yeah, I ain't taking orders in command.